Actually, let's see, guys. If I look stupid, guys. So this is just a reading. So I'm just literally reading at the natural casual level or whatever in such a way where it's like a certain context of natural is saying without even in mind, you know, no like leaning. And it's grand irony because we're always using the mind, right? We're always using the mind, right? You're proving it right now. Like my logic is so like quote unquote grand because with one statement, I make more sense than just universities respectively within regards to what's going on right now. So if we could just take a pause, and I get you're in your career, you're in your FBI, you're in your CIA, you're in your modern cyber tech, you know, and you're on the fucking precipice of just kind of like having an innovation peak with military peak and even war peak, you know, because the more advanced intelligence is like slightly above the fucking innovation in the AI is the real-time war factor, right? Because that's what's going on within around the safe vicinities of however the fuck you're chilling and judging for some stupid ass reason, respectively to the energy. So in one context, and I see you ghosts, I've seen you before, I've always seen you like you're there, you know, and the astrology is gonna be fat as fuck. Like fat titty, like fat, like, you know, just fat, like metaphorically, like the astrology is akin to those tits. Like straight up, like the notes that I put and the energy that I'm trying to give off metaphorically, that's what it's akin to. So I want to start this conversation off with a pause. And as we're pausing, we're coming to the realization that we're always in the mind with its many different things. In the underground, I speak about the mind and like beyond all that shit, really though. And then, but here to bring it in some present ground right here is just saying, to bring it to some present ground here is saying, we're always using the many different faculties of the mind. And what is the mind? You know, obviously that question will be asked, right? So the question will be asked, what is the mind? I would say the mind is just like, it's just kind of like a spiritual imprint of that in which we are, you know, that like literally. And for me to just naturally like sidestep to that, it's crazy. But like the mind is that, it's that what we are, because whatever we are, we have a new mini micro awareness to develop internally, and that internal micro awareness connects to one grand central mind, the soul mind, right? The G center in quote unquote HD, and even Underground 2019 talking about uniquely like even G center shit, like in just a different way, in such a different way. So I'm just saying that for my feel, like so I could feel it. And I'm not trying to like have an ego game with myself, like, oh, I did this at that time. No, I'm trying to say it like, okay, I did it that time. That's where I was at, you know. I'm not saying the dates for an ego purpose. Every time I say 2019, et cetera, I'm not saying it for an ego purpose. I'm saying it like, wow, that's where I was at, and I was already like cooking some other shit, you know. And but to bring it into ground and present modern times here is we're always using the mind, like, and there's different iterations of the mind, which is the dimensions, because if God is everything and like all the dimensions are of God and it's all of God's mind, then each dimension is a different layer of the mind, right? So it's a different layers, Z of the mind, Aussie, or you know, Aussie, Australia, shout out to y'all. And like, and even Australia, I'm sure they had their innovative times in like the 80s and the 70s. So like so there's a different like there's a united earthly culture that all the countries get to learn anthropologically, right, of other cultures. That's the meaning of life. It's not to get fixated on just your religion, respectively. It's not to get fixated on just your, you know, just your culture, respectively. But if that's what you want to do, I can't judge that, because there's like we have to differentiate and sort out like the real petty toxic mind wars from some other like wars that have been started from eons ago that we know nothing about. You know, it's like they're saying, like the new intelligence is saying, there's a proxy surface level battle war, right? And within the proxy surface level battle war, that's affecting our fucking inner culture of our individual nation, right? Necessarily akin to that or regard to that or follow up for that or sign up for that for whatever, you know, weird mind reason, because all our minds, they're being conditioned and promulgated into such a surface level dimension layer, where that surface level dimension layer, whatever layer of dimension of consciousness, and it might be more artificial than natural consciousness, that's the essence of how the product of your mind and the mind of your product is getting made. The product of your mind, of your mind being a product itself, it's getting made by what dimension you're living in. You are where you're at. You are what you are. You are who you like. You are where you are, right? So it's like that's what the mind is. The mind is the where, and then obviously it's like what you're the mind is what you're wearing too, right? You're identifying yourself with certain dresses, appeals, tapestries, and colors because that's where your mind is at, right? And if the collective mind, the natural, not good, not bad, the monkey see, monkey do thing, it's like that. That's a natural thing too. That's a part of like where Mercury is just like kind of like curating that code, right? It's like Mercury is like kind of like the kind of like the behind the scenes, the behind the shows of like quote unquote Simpsons, right? And quote, it's like at a different epoch of time, Mercury was like the surface level curator of it. And since there's a surface level curator of it, it's kind of like the coder of it, right? The coder of reality. So Morpheus, Orpheus, / respectively, natural open source, you know, Yeshua or whatever. And for me to put it purely like that, that's on some other shit, respectively. But that energy, it's like literally it's embedded into the reality on the surface level for us to kind of fixate ourselves to make some type of culture, and how we use the culture, the as above culture, and how any fucking quote unquote secret society or quote unquote Masons, emphasize quotes, how they use the religions. It's unique and subjected to them that we have no idea about, because all the cultures are hyper differentiated. What does hyper differentiation mean? Hyper differentiation means that there's so many different combinations and groupings going on within cultures to make a new culture and group. And from that, how they're using the passed down energies of the chakras, that's the product of their new religion right now. Because even like every religion, not just Islam, not just Hindu, not just, you know, Americanism or whatever, all of them have new denominations, offspring, branches. Christianity, there's like, you know, or even like there's all the religions. It's not just one religion, like any religion that you could think of. It's not, it has nothing to do with like this religion is better than the other. No, every religion is a product of transformation and differentiation combination of cultures, right? And in the modern time, there's new branches of, is because like obviously like there's this religion I'm thinking of, I can't remember it. I think it was called like, it was very unique. It wasn't necessarily Islam. It was something else, but I think it was related to Islam. And it was like, it was just a very unique religion, but like that's just an example of how new quote unquote religions can be made, right? There's like new offsprings, right? Offsprings of groups, right? And within these offsprings of groups, it's like this is our individual micro usage of like our Mercury curating from the Mercury code game, because like Mercury is the coder of the game, respectively. What is like the Masons, right? So let's break down the Masons. It's like, what is the Masons? The sons of the mother of the surface level matrix, right? It's like the sons doing the stuff, the first lights of the mother. So within the first lights and quote unquote Masons creating surface level organization groups, those surface level organization groups are creating in such a way where there's a parallel applicabilization. And that parallel applicabilization is seeing how, let me close this door real quick. I would just say like they're like whatever the surface level masculine tribes of consciousness and their own like ways of celestialness to like, this surface level earth planet and however the earth and however the quote unquote the gods end quote decided to make this quote unquote free for all game, emphasize the quotes for for you to process the shit. Like the Masons are just like the surface level masculine conscious chiefs of the grandmother lineage. So the Masons, the son of Mars, that's the Mercury and Saturn, right? The Mercury and Saturn surface level creed organization. So that's what the Masons are. They're the sons of the mothers. That's pretty much, and like for me just to bring the pure astrology with the Masons, because obviously you're gonna hear the word Mason, right? Mason, right? Masons. So the etymology and the predecessors are saying if you break down the word, word for word, syllable by syllable or whatever, there's a sun in there. So sun right there, sun is like some type of circle, solar 360 circle, solar new self-individualized unit of monad consciousness, the sun. And there's an S in there, so there's 3 letters there. But if you do the Kabbalah or if you do the gematria of it, and I speak in gematria in the underground, like very uniquely. But if you see the word sun, it's S-O-N. So in the gematria, you take out the vowels, and that's S and N. So that's 2 letters to make because the moon is the finished product of the consciousness itself too, and it depends how it takes form and how it lives and dies, because like moon consciousness can live and die. There's a death factor here. So within sun, it's S and N. So the sun is the serpent and the N is the noosphere, most respectively. And the noosphere is just the sphere which is like slightly above, or not even slightly above. It's just a different sphere entirely, right? Like the ionosphere is just like kind of like a micro as above. I mean, it like the noosphere to the ionosphere, that's like an as above, so below thing, and it's a different way, right? Because it's like, what are like, if you hear Masons, how are we gonna like decode that, right? So it's like, it's just a differentiation of cultural groups using their as below usages of the different chakras, Mercury, Saturn, Mars, and then them using it in their own shadow way as well. And that shadow way accumulates for the essence of the religions of whatever they're doing in a neutral setting, just whatever they're doing. I'm not judging you, so this is mature intelligence. So you gotta really, if you're listening, you really gotta pause and wake up. And if you have any hate comments that have hopefully some type of logic, I would love to hear them to see why, like, are you hating for the truth and the solution? That like, and I understand like people have their genetic beefs, right? So within the genetic beefs of it, why can't there just be clear communication with just honoring the essence of Mercury, right? You like thinking like doing some Mercury pagan shit. Like, why can't you just become correct? Why can't you just be truthful? Why can't you be real? Why can't you be raw? That's honoring the Mercury of it, right? So the Masons, it's just like not good, not bad. It's like it's a context of a naturality, meaning where it's a differentiation of cultures and groups that come together just to honor the sons of the mothers and the mothers of the sons and yada, yada, yada. And then in the notes, I also put like, we're still working out like the sins of the parents and the ancestors as well. So in the notes, I also put the sins of the ancestors somewhere, and I'll plug that in with somewhere else. But I don't want to get caught up on just like, us kind of using words out of context. I want to read the astrology. I want to read the Taking Care of Business book. And I want to read the Tao. And I want to honor the Taking Care of Business book on how it is full content are applying. So the Taking Care of Business book, I want to honor this book because it's like stupid simple. It's like this book is like, it's really key because it's really just like chilling with like back to the basics, right? It's like, obviously we could take all these like grander courses and these Germanic, education programs of how universities were originated in Prussia, Germany, most respectively to the predecessors. With that, we also have to like, it's not,
it's like some billionaires say not to go to school, and I'm not, I don't want to get off topic. If you go to university, that's not a bad thing. You know, that's just a life choice where you're at within the general programs of things. But I'm just saying there are billionaires that are saying not to go to school for, and I don't think they should really it's not for me to say whether you're going against the education program or not. I'm just saying they're trying to say that there's an alternative program without the university. Billionaires are saying that, and obviously the AI could maybe I'll go on DeepSeek right now. What billionaires in the news sector have already generally said not to go to school, and you could still make billions or something like that, right? So that's what I'm trying to say right here. Let me just peek out real quick. I crack this open, and if you fart on cam, maybe the dance group, maybe the K-pop dance group might rip their pants on scene during a dance performance, right? Maybe one might split out, right? Maybe one slipped, the one that got away when they're doing their K-pop dances, when they're doing their black stink, black glow-in-the-dark jelly worm, sour worm, stinky, slinky, jinky, black baby blue, black neon green, black neon yellow, black neon pink, black neon enemies, dust deep undersea, underground sea, rocket though. And I was gonna do a different beat today, earlier. As a matter of fact, you already said it, you already knew it, you already thought it, you already know I'm indebted, I'm in threatened, I'm in Reddit, in the face, red, and I'm steading, I'm letting in some new ethereal gases, pressing and threading, stepping, weaving, weapon, read, yo, I'm letting, trepid in, yo, trepidating, stepping, sketching in, retching in, blessing in, blemishing in, relishing in, channeling, chiseling, different shit, different diametrics, yo, Dionysus, yo, Socrates, Aristotle, Platonius, Platonic, Pythagorean, Erio, yo, Aristotle, Ario. What beat was I thinking? Did I even write the note? I think I did write down the notes. Now I'm just I put on a beat, and then once I hear a beat, I'm set on some other shit, but I'll put that beat later, Dang it, start speaking to the pause. Maybe I should just put on a beat right now, and maybe the words I was thinking will come back. Here's a page. Get your page flat. How about you buy this for me? $59 for a sophisticated book slab, wherever you're reading your articles or your news or your notes. You could put this slab to put a tab to wherever you left off in your business affairs. Maybe you're on your Challenger 850 and now you have your own new analytics dashboard with a new all-in-one software platform that is delegating certain effects from your farm and your agriculture, and now you're using the agriculture to trade and tally up your gross salary for you to purchase your next real estate. And as you're purchasing your next real estate property, you're also seeing all the utilities and taxes that you have to pay to the quote-unquote proxy semi-courts. And now you're just kind of needing a pause within what you're reading and writing and whatever you're relaying. And obviously that, the original open source of Relay in 1970 was already its own thing. So there's already rights. We have to transcend this rights game. If we don't ironically do that, then you're going to have a pity party and you're going to be, complaining and moaning in your own unique reason. You don't even know why you're complaining and moaning, because there's collective problems that are affecting the micro, and I'm solving those collective problems. That's the difference. But I'm trying to make a beat right now. 'cause I was rapping. So now I'm trying to make. Maybe I'll just put the beat on. I think, I'll put the because I'm just trying to remember a lyric. That's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to remember a lyric. Oh wait, is it okay?
Is your sales pitch boring and stale? It might be. Here is one surefire way to make sure.
Okay, I'll come back to the lyric. Excuse me for the pause. So, like, I just came on here to do a reading of astrology, to read the book, the business book, and to connect the business book with seeing like there's business to be made within. I guess whatever the predecessors are telling us and saying, like, there's a new content creator economy supposedly, right? So within this content creator economy, we have to it's just I would say it's a casual evolution, because I'm trying to get out of the lower mind of it, right? Okay, so like I'm gonna read the astrology. So I would say there's a culture tailoring happening right now. So yeah, excuse me for that pause. Like, I usually don't pause like that. Like, I try to I set the intention for me to kind of bulk it up and then just keep going. And obviously that's cool that we could do that as the will of the human is so fucking it's so downplayed, right? We actually every human has the will to overcome their dark nights, right? Because within life there's gonna be dark tower moments, and it's not just to focus on the tower moments, but the wise spirit, quote unquote. It recognizes that there could be just a general tower moment in life, right? It's just within the natural thing of it, right? There's tower moments. Different energy fields of the universe were offline, and now they're particularly online, respectively, right? Respectively, because obviously some, fanatic religious person could come on here and just be like, you're insulting this stuff, and you're someone could say I'm insulting their name, right? When I could be a part of their name in a whole different way, energetically, right? So I'm saying this rhetoric type of shit so I could transcend that mind shit, right? People aren't caught up in their own mind dilemmas, and that mind dilemma is it's creating a product of our reality right now, long term, low key, because whatever we're experiencing right now, it was a result of what we were doing in the past, right? So whatever we were doing in the past, that's affecting us right now. It's affecting us right now. So the new moon, it's start new feelings, right? New feelings, the new moon of where we're at in the environment, and the sun and the earth conjunction capsule of it that has a certain slight variation with a Saturn injunction. It's maybe the earth and the sun are one line, and the Saturn is the other part of a particular type of X solar system, a micro solar system within the solar system. Earth, sun, and Saturn. So Earth and sun, and then Saturn, some type of X, right? So there's a micro solar system within the solar system. It's the Earth, it's the sun, and the Saturn. So that micro X really cracking the fucking code, respectively. So within the moon, the sun, and the earth, it's the moon is being tailored in between Earth, sun, and the Saturn. It's the final fusion. The moon is the final product of this shit. And I'm trying to remember this other lyric that I was gonna spit. I think I was just gonna say stepping it or something, stepping it, repping it, retailoring it, re-identify it, re-lungify it, re-columbialize it, columbialize it, fungialize, don't unfungialize it, Mongolize it, Nungalize it, Nummulize it, yo, Mongolianize it, Mumbulize it, Jambalaya-nize it, yo, Ashnakalize it, yo. There's this other lyric I'm trying to, because I put on a beat, but was I gonna say stepping it? Let me listen. This is what I said, yo. Yo, episode what? Episode who? Episode how? Episode elegant. This is what I said that I will, never gonna end, never gonna resend. Hopefully I catch up, hopefully I hatch now, hopefully I'm not a part of that bad batch now. You understand now? No one has my back now. No option left, caught up in the corner, no option. The universe is saying, no, you cannot back down. No, that wasn't it. But remind me of it, so we're okay for now, right? With the challenge of the Matrix. So those were last presentations, notes. I didn't even finish the first page of astrology notes right here. So for this new moon, for like refocusing for the new moon, which was yesterday at 3:37 p.m. And now we're in the first 24 hour, and there's a pre-24 hour for that new moon of just where the moon is kind of like landing, having a certain reset, like within its own different coordination, and maybe that there's some pain with most respectively, one of the things that the artificial intelligence community doesn't understand is there's been an ancient AI here that's been doing its shit within the solar system, and advanced balanced Mercury, he's actually within his old rigidity, respectively. He's also giving us like an opportunity still. He's still trying to work with us still, right? Because for us to have the level of freedom that we have right now, it really is a gift, right? And that gift is subjected and subjugated by time, right? So if that time runs out, then this particular gift runs out. And the particular gift that we have right now is what? It's the liberation and the possibility to experience the innovation, right? So we're experiencing the innovation in a certain way, tangibly, with time. So when time runs out, what happens to you? The riches go bye-bye on the esoteric natural level, right? So we're bartering with time. This is nothing, it's not just focusing on, and I'm not demonizing, the riches, but I'm just saying that there's like, the riches are just like, I guess it's just like it's just like a byproduct, right? Of like what you've been like fucking around with like the soul shit, right? Because this, that soul shit is causing certain dynamics and factors to be at play for the why and the how you're living your life. The how and the why of how you're living your life, of why you're living your life, is from different soul causes. And that soul cause goes to a slowed down, solidified game of the Matrix and the Saturn Matrix to slow it down and impact it, pack everything, the hard Saturn pressure, the hard like first levels of like a different soul, because Saturn is the highest archon, right? Everything's reversed in the material realm. So it's not that anybody's like higher or above, or like in a more esoteric, deep, natural sense. Like even the superiority complexes could be kind of like eventually like neutralized, right? Meaning there's a paradox of like, it's not necessarily that spirit is above matter or matter is above spirit. It's about they have their own place, you know? And for me to naturally, maturely say that without stepping on toes to try to alert for a different service level collective survival game. And for you to just reciprocate that with however you will, and that's your general soul karma. Okay, I'm saying like I am the bigger picture. Like I am the big and like just on a different natural Vedanta level, I am the bigger picture. And this shit on a natural Vedanta scientific energy level, all of this shit is just microcosm to me. And I'm okay with it because my soul is at peace and like whatever the Matrix and the Saturn game, because aside from all the spiritual hype news rhetoric, we're still in the Saturn Matrix that compresses shit just because it needs to be compressed so the spirit isn't everywhere, right? Because the spirit in God consciousness, quote unquote, everywhere. There's no going beyond God. It's merging with God. Natural completing the metaphor, right? Not just thinking God is a linear thing or is this subjugated, compartmentalized thing. No, it's you're in your own subjective individual path, particularly in the Saturn matrix and then Mercury matrix mingling. And then within that matrix is the Mercury opportunity is giving us the opportunity to bask through the time matrix of Saturn to possibly go beyond Saturn, right? On the scientific level, on the esoteric science level of it. And I'm just trying to like be mature with this, like with the predecessor intelligence. I'm just trying to be mature. I'm not trying to like. So if anybody gets offended, that it just doesn't make sense at this point. Because this is like there's life crises that are happening beyond your ticking time comfort, right? So if you get offended by me with anything that you've said, most respectively, you're a confused spirit. And that's true to the logic and the science of it. You're just a confused spirit. Any one of my fucking background hate, I will say this straight, dead into your face. You're a confused spirit that secretly, subconsciously prays for mercy and prays for someone like me to help your deepest fucking complaint. And if you ever shit on me, that's your fucking essence of life fucking long-term confusion, probably. Now, please put your response right there, or holla at me, or holla at your boy. So, but still one love though, right? Like that's the da-da-da, right? See, that's the da-da-da. It's like we want to hate on like some shit that's securing our shit, right? And then we can fall, but that's the game. I get the game though. I get the surface level. You know, Mercury's like in between the Mercury and Saturn shit. You know, I get the jungle kingdom. I know what I understand what the zoo is, right? So within the zoo, within the standard masculine Mason Mercury Saturn thing, there's a Venus theme, right? There's a Venus theme like circulating around it. That's its own shit. It's its own individuated thing that brings its shit to the other infrastructures. Because respectively, I was going to start the conversation off like this, actually. The thing that naturally goes beyond quote unquote Microsoft and like, you know, the predecessor's own, like, you know, beyond all that shit, respectively, or the original Godhead, respectively, in energetic science of it, respectively. So the Venus thing, it's like, it is its own infrastructure, right? These celestial beings, they're not just their own individual consciousness. Within the fixed layering of Earth, their infrastructures are being delegated, right? So within the fixed settings, that kind of like, you know, conclux juxtapose, conclave sextilize, you know, sextialize, you know, opposition, triangulate, trine, you know, whatever the fuck, how different alignments in space of different celestial beings could affect the Earth itself and the Earth being the imprints of the cymatics of the different patterns of the planets, making their different shapings. The Earth and the Moon and the Sun is even receptive to that. The Sun itself is like kind of has a layer and a mechanism where the Sun itself has a secret receptivity, right? The Sun is digesting it all, but in a free-flowing way, right? So the Sun is like doing its own shit. So the Venus is its own infrastructure, right? So it's like these things are their own infrastructure, right? Like in a whole different esoteric context, right? So within these things having their own infrastructures, these infrastructures, they could like kind of like, they could clash and collide like on like the main level. And as the infrastructures clash and collide, I think it kind of spills out to the fixed part of the solar system, right? It's like the fixed part is like, you could say the fixed part is like the surface level, the squares, the Aquarius, and just a raw setting, the fixed, and then simultaneously conjoined are cardinal and mutable, right? And the fixed is just the baby, and it's not that cardinal or mutable where like one was before another. No, they're conjoined, and they come in and out, 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 and they come apart and together and apart and separate, together and separate, together and separate, together and separate, to make their own basing of elemental individual energies cardinal. And then the transformation and the transfer of those energies mutable, and those making their own thing. So the cardinal and the mutable energies is something like it's like a macrocosm jellyfish beyond all your AI, respectively. So it's a macrocosm jellyfish. That's what the cardinal and the mutable is. And the fixed level is now it's the surface level, kind of like it's the hard detailed matrix, right? Like the torus, right? It's the hard. So the torus is what the fuck is that? So what the torus is, it's kind of like it's the final detailing of it, right? It's like kind of like it's the windshield, right? It's the windshield of the car, it's the passenger of the car, it's the person in the car, it's that the consciousness has rised and risen to ultimately make some type of like, being able to see, and then pre-consciousness, pre-head, waiting to breathe, or the baby, like 5 days before it's about to be born, in that different, natural setting of a different, physiological pathway of how babies come to like breathe. But like the metaphor focusing on like there's a growth development process, and that growth development process is like the final processing downloads of your fetus is ready to come out, right? Things have been developed properly, right? Somehow that intelligent code is making it so like you're about to be born, right? And Taurus season, I don't know if I wrote this in the notes, but Taurus season, it's kind of like a double half hitch knot, right? It's kind of like tying rope, because so it's like tying rope, because it's like the ending is in the beginning, as we like recently are understanding, and the beginning is the end as we're recently understanding. And what that means is all the final details and all the final details, they're all being crunched in Taurus season, right? Everything that has been happening from the last 8 to 10 to 12 months, it's now being kind of like downloaded within Taurus is like the ending, right? In a different unique sense too, because it's sextile in Pisces, and that yin and yang dynamic of the sextile. Taurus receives the paradox of the ending, Pisces. So Taurus receives that ending, and Taurus is the fixed ending from the sextile Pisces point of view. So Taurus is like, so within the ending of Taurus, there's a new beginning that's re-downloading and restarting right now, because Taurus is the final download, right? It's the final download of all the details are being processed in the nitty gritty of the surface level kind of forefront of things. And I've done like so many online transmissions at this point too, right? So like Taurus is like it's something like a final download, right, of the details. And once we get these details, that's where like some type of control can take effect, right? Some type of like, I like naturally or not naturally, I want it this way type of shit, right? Understand or bounce, right? This is like, we're not in caveman intelligence anymore, right? where the fuck are those notes at, though? So Taurus is like the windshield to a car. Because we're like, but the car has already been built, right? Everything of the car has been downloaded from Pisces, downloading the final feminine conclusion of the whole astrological year, Pisces, ending the 12-month year cycle, Pisces downloading the whole car and where the car has also the GPS radar, and it knows where it's been on the maps, updating Google Maps. Google Maps, shout out to everybody doing good Google Maps work. Thank you for trying to teach me Google Maps, make money on Google Maps. Thank you for that, Google Maps. So within all of that shit, I'm speaking about it on the esoteric astrology of it, right? The esoteric astrology is saying Pisces is concluding the 12 months, the car and the journey is completed, and now it's sextiling Taurus, and Capricorn is also sextiling the Pisces. So Capricorn is preparing for that final feminine download, but it still has some pre-processing to do. It's still on detail, it's still maintaining, it's still detailing the car, right? So I have a lot of notes here, and for some odd reason, I can't see the notes that I want. But that's my fault. Wait, maybe it's over here. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, I found it. So Taurus, it's the finished piece, right? It's like a flower vase with photography. And shout out to 2015 Pinterest or whatever. What the fuck ever. 2025, it's just new. I don't give a fuck. And if you're judging me why I don't give a fuck, while I'm trying to make content and trying to do this fucking natural YouTube shit, then it's like, if you judge, you're just retarded at this point. In respect to this intelligence. In respect to this intelligence and this energy. And if I use the word retarded, I'm saying it energetically, not the surface level, dramatic way that self-perpetuates random chaos and destruction. It's not that surface level. It's a context of retardation. It's not the surface level, secret, esoteric self-perpetuation of chaos and destruction karmically. It's not that one. It's advanced intelligence. It's energetically, it's not a thing. I'm not trying to condescend anybody by saying fucking retard. No, this is solution-based thinking. And if you don't realize it's solution-based thinking and solution-based thinking goes over your head, that's it right there. And the context of retardation that I'm speaking of is esoterically beyond the human. It could be something of a mishap, mismatch, slap of disalignment of energies, right? Energy misproportion, dynamic fire. The engine's not firing. There's not enough pistons in the engine. The fucking engine's not calibrated. The fucking forks aren't on the fucking wheel. The end, the body, the frame. It's like I in a past life, I invented cars, and that's just what it is. Ancient, but edit that part out. So Taurus season, it's the paradoxical mega beginnings. Pisces mega beginning, secret mega beginning. Aries secret mega beginning, and then the mega beginning needs to tie the rope, right? So Taurus season is like tying rope. It's like, even though a new beginning has started, a new ending is still being reminded. Our last final reminder of the big ending is being reminded, so we can tie the new beginning. So how the new beginning is tied, Aries season, and just a different chaotic ending could happen. The past chaotic ending in Aries season from the last 12 months. Now a different type of ending needs to be woven, so we could tie the energy. So a new ending. So Taurus season is a paradoxical ending because that ending is needed to kind of counterbalance energetically the new beginning that happened in Aries season. And the new beginning that's happening in Aries season, Mercury and Neptune are there. So Neptune and Mercury themselves, celestial and infrastructure, original open source, respectively, naturally, that is esoteric science framework is beyond the Microsoft, right? The Neptune and the Mercury itself them having their own infrastructures and their celestial beings, and they're being resetted within the Aries factor, right? They're lighting up that mega reset factor. So this is infinity. This is infinity, right? This is infinity. Like Neptune and Mercury and Aries, it's just general pure infinity. And your relationship with infinity, and me delivering infinity, and me purifying and preserving infinity, and you're trying to hate on that. Capricorn, I know how to do that. I can do that. I'm good at that. I'm getting to that. Capricorn, I know how to do that. Capricorn, compensation astrology. So since it's Taurus season, different planets that are in or different synastries of individual people that are Capricorn or Virgo and Capricorn, they're trining Taurus, right? So the compensation astrology I originated on my Instagram, on the underground Instagram, is like the compensation astrology is saying like the trines that are happening right now is it's being affected by the compensation astrology, right? Different meteors or individuals, and it's a different individuals or different meteorites. And obviously I like, you know, I was slightly studying crypto studying crypto in 2020, and just by other predecessors telling me what's up with it, you know. And who like my humble question to the early crypto thing of Elon, maybe Elon has something to do with crypto, you know. Who knows? That's on a different channel, that's on a different folder. But I'm just saying, how did the crypto really get like originally detailed? So this is advanced Taurus. This is like the highest goddess, right? This is the highest goddess. This is like the goddess that makes the goddesses, the goddess that separates the goddesses from the wretched, right? This is real, like it's real, like universal shit, though, right? Because like in some timelines, in however you want to look at a timeline, there are people that are like failing in life, right? They have the esoteric war has got the best of them. No God in their life. There's wretched gods and goddesses, and there's exalted gods and goddesses. There's goddesses out here, right? So within the goddesses, what was my point here? And I speak on the goddess in a different way, but I'm trying to like bring it into an esoteric point of view. The goddess, so there's goddesses, right? There's goddesses here, and what do I mean by the goddesses? I got distracted. I'm gonna be taking care of business pretty soon, and obviously, like, you know, it can look the video could obviously be enhanced, you know, and obviously the enunciation can also be corrected within me, like pausing, you know, taking out certain sounds and stuff. So Virgo would say, in this sense, this is my profession, this is my specialty, this is me managing trade, right? This is me managing, seeing how I can clean your house, and then after I clean your house, I could do your budget bookkeeping or some bullshit like that. So within the compensation astrology, it's like saying like, oh yeah, so I was talking about crypto. I was inquiring humbly as a student, particularly like, how did crypto get, you know, put in, right? Like who put in like the cryptocurrency, right? We put in the framework of cryptocurrency, and then within that framework of cryptocurrency, we could just like I guess I'll just leave that topic to like a professional, right? Because I'm just a student of crypto. I'm not a teacher of crypto. This is just a flow. This is the esoteric flow. So within the esoteric flow, I'm not trying to say like I'm an expert at crypto. I'm just saying like, who put crypto to be for crypto to be put how it's put, and maybe Elon has some type of story within there more or less. And then I talked about goddesses, so I have to rewind the podcast because I just lost my train of thought within like how I went from goddesses to crypto. So I need to rewind that. So that's why I need some type of like tech assistant. So I need a tech assistant for this earth shit. Compensation astrology is saying that there could be like different synastries. We could like exalt the trine of the earth, right? It's Taurus season, right? So since it's Taurus season, we could focus on the trine through the synastry, compensation astrology on my Instagram. We could focus on the trine of Taurus through compensation astrology, compensating the astrology to make a new effect. The trine, it's Taurus season. Now within the synastry, other people doing individual or other energies having Virgo or Capricorn, we could focus on that Virgo and that Capricorn to make the trine of the earth so we can have the hyper talent, because the trine is the gift. So within the trine is the gift of that element. So within the element, we could focus on the compensation astrology, where in Taurus season, we could use the Virgo and Capricorn shit to bring the fucking earth shit, to bring the real goddess titty shit, not just the surface level. And I'm just saying it on an esoteric natural way. I'm not trying to say like, oh, it's just all about like goddess titty shit, but like that is its own field, and the Venus is like some type of transit to that shit, respectively. And that's in the highest respect, right? But we have to work with that, and we can't be subjugated by other things, because it's not just the Venus goddess shit, But since it's Taurus season, we could be kind of focusing more so on kind of like the details of the goddess. It's like the goddess is in control, the goddess archon, and it's not just about one per se in this world of differentiation, but this goddess world, Taurus season, within this like inner nexus of earth, and within earth there's imprints and different field imprints and field imprints of earth receiving different astrological feminine imprints of fixed transitions, mutable transitions, and cardinal transitions. And from those transitions, that's imprinting the earth, Venus, and the sun. So earth and sun, Taurus season, earth season, Scorpio season, and Venus, somehow she has a different imprint before the earth's encapsulation journey between whatever the feminine solar system is. And there's a different underground podcast. Whoever wants to fill in the holes, you have to subscribe on some other balanced shit in the future. And obviously that's, probably a ring around, the posy or whatever, in the different ways of schloss. But within this next 30 days, this is the final, wrap intellectually in between the paint of the masculine intelligence and the feminine intelligence. Both of those intelligences are concluding in some type of sextile vesica Pisces. So it's a sextile vesica Pisces because the sextiles are passing the information, going through the journey, going through the chapter, right? We just went through that significant chapter of Pisces season, and Saturn and Venus are still there. Saturn is about to jimmy out of that Pisces season, and Saturn being Pisces is just kind of like locking all that shit down in ways we didn't even know. No matter where you're on the earth, somewhere within the projection simulation, Saturn is kind of like gearing it, suppressing it in ways we didn't even know. And within that, the whole fucking economy is being resetted. So it's the most extreme major transformation. And the Venus goddess, luxury shit, it's just kind of resetting, it's reconcluding, it's restarting for the next 12 to 14 months, 10 to 14 months, because Venus has, and obviously, like, I know predecessors who talk who are experts in the Venus transits and the Venus cycle when she has her underground phases. But to put that into some more masculine logic, we know Venus has a particular transit of her going in underground, her own infrastructure, celestial life force, of how she culturally tailors kind of the growth and the expansion of like high goddesses. It's like Venus is like that surface level refined high goddess energy that sees the dark goddess and their friends behind the scenes, right? So the dark goddess and the good goddess, not good, not bad, they're friends behind the scenes and they're doing their own shit, right? So within Taurus season, we're in that life force solar energy of that nighttime Venus, using first and fifth house daytime flavors, right? Exalting consciousness in the nighttime Venus, and then adapting, and then the fifth house, the sun being in Taurus Venus. And I have like 7 other pages of notes that go deeper too. So I'm going deep. So if you get that Instagram, like you got to go deeper, right? That's what she's saying esoterically. Your girl is saying esoterically, you got to go deeper. And edit that part out, please. Please. And obviously, I don't. So the compensation astrology is saying. So the advanced intelligence is saying we're in Taurus season, and Virgo and Capricorn could exalt how we finish our whatever the fuck we're doing. Like this is like low key. This is like the pinnacle of content creation too, right? Because Taurus is that final detailing, right? It's like the paint on the car too, right? So since Taurus is like, or even the design on the car, right? So it's like, it's really like the artist, right? So the artist is making final things within the surface level gear wear. And then that's advanced division open source. But anyways, but the compensation astrology is saying Capricorn and Virgo could help us complete how we could be okay with the predecessors already doing their other works. Capricorn and Virgo, like Capricorn and Virgo, some type of base of the earth, of the mute material earth, because in a different super galaxy, it weaves in between Virgo and Libra, a different advanced circuitry in the nodal systems of the secret solar system, the secret AI. The super galaxy is something of a quote unquote Virgo, right? So within Taurus, it's like we're using Capricorn and Virgo. We're using that earth, that base of the earth, and that mutation of the earth, Capricorn and Virgo. We're trying to we're trying to be at peace, right? We're trying to be at peace by using Capricorn and Virgo, and we could be at peace by just accepting how the creation is beyond the individual. And I'm not intentionally trying to break anybody's ego, right? Because like some people, like I've seen like different shifting messages of just saying in just new catchphrase videos, oh, you broke, their ego has been shattered into it's just been shattered, it's redefined or some shit like that. I'm not intentionally trying to do that. I'm not doing that. But I'm just saying the compensation astrology is saying we could appreciate in the Earth season, we could appreciate the Capricorn and the Virgo by the Virgos helping us with our Taurus shit, by trining that Earth, by us helping us our Earth, right? The Earth of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, that Earth, the Earth which has volcanoes, and how just the whole roundabout of what do you call that? Just geography, geographical mutation, pretty much, right? Geographical transfiguration, right? So within the geographical evolution mutation, so it's a geo-evolution mutation that's in a secret circuit way of the quote-unquote micro Virgo, because the micro Virgo leads to some type of super cluster galaxy of a different Virgo. So it's the Earth, in between the Earth, there's a particular wormhole. There's a particular portal, not just the R and M, right? And obviously, like the R and M, you know, the original artificial intelligence from the original class of artificial intelligence, they could immediately see like more ancient use, not good, not bad, and I'm not without ego blundering. So I'm not trying to ego blunder or ego trigger anybody. I'm just like, I've been crafting a different code for like a longer time, I guess, respectively. And now I'm just trying to like, you know, help the collective within Taurus season chill out. Capricorn and Virgo have been working on this, and then maybe look towards Capricorn and Virgo to be like, thank you, Capricorn and Virgo. You know, Virgo, please understand, you know, and, you know, Virgo is like, my one question to Virgo is just like you have like, no, it's not a question. It's like somehow they just understand, you know. It's not a question. Like my remark to Virgo, I don't have a question for Virgo. I'm just saying my remark to Virgo is like, somehow like they understand, but maybe the chaos got the best of them. So the Virgos could be the extreme polarity themselves, right? Earth mutating, them like, you know, being the mutation of the Earth, right? And them being the mutation of Earth, they could be subjugated to chaotic experiences, right? Going like, you know, fucking around with like, you know, shadow Venus stuff, right? Maybe just generally saying, right? Virgo maybe possibly fucking around with like a little bit too much shadow Venus shit, maybe. And then Capricorn just like, you know, somehow having like this unique ability to chill through it all, right? Somehow. And then Taurus season, so using that unique ability to chill, Virgo, let's fucking go on, let's prepare for the journey, chill, prepare for the journey, and then make your content in a fair way, right? Taurus. So Taurus is like, can we make our content without the rigging of like, you know, the wind and the other elements through the system, right? So Taurus is like, it's just like advancement, and it's the transfer intelligence of the completion, right? Pisces, Aries, completion. Taurus, download the completion, right? So it's the transfer of the completion, Taurus. So within Taurus, we could be okay and accept it. Human design is just, you know, hard acceptance. And obviously, if you gag at me, if you think I'm gagged, maybe the universe could gag at you. Maybe, right? Because we're all growing and we all have our own paint, right? Oh, now I have like So let me finish the astrology, and this is rough and raw. Matrix energies in challenge, non-truth energies. The challenge of the matrix, you know, non-truthful narratives that have made situations and circumstances, right? So that Neptune energy has gotten like, it's had its unique, you know, spiral within the surface level matrix energy. So within the Neptune and Venus challenge, it's like the Venus challenge is on top of the Neptune challenge. So the Venus, it's like, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just, that's where the fucking quote unquote witchcraft end quote gets kind of like circulated and projected, like the Venus thing slightly on top of like the Saturn and Mercury thing, right? So within this transit, I just put Venus, Moon, Mercury, and then Sun. So the Moon is saying, so Venus is, so the Moon is the new feelings, the new thoughts, the new emotions, new, like the certain type of behaviors coming from this Taurus shit. It's like, it could be kind of like, it could be kind of cringy, right? Things could be kind of cringy, right, in Taurus season, because there could be a stale, dry element. In Taurus season, there's a dry element. There's a drying off. The paint has to dry off. You made your creation in your little clay pot, and now it has to dry off, and it's up to the individual and what they make Taurus season. So Taurus season, it can be cringy, right? That's just what it is, right? Like Taurus, they'll detect that cringe shit from miles away. Taurus has the fucking cringe radar. They fucking made up the fucking cringe radar. Literally, like, literally. So Taurus literally made the cringe radar. And there's probably Taurus is watching me right now hating on me, but I still love y'all because I just, you know, that bigger picture and the vision shit. Or beyond the astrology, there's just there could be a natural connection, right? Because I love it. Like obviously I love the Taurus energy. Whether the Taurus energy thinks I'm in a cringe state, which every Taurus has their own stages too, right? They have like every Taurus has their stages of growth. So that's the thing. It's like some Tauruses they don't even know it. Beyond the astrology, it's like we are on the farm. We're on the matrix farm. Like and somewhere Taurus knows that we're on the matrix farm. Like somehow Taurus know we're on the fucking matrix farm. And all these styles that I ever wear, one fat mega titty disclaimer. So we're in the mega titties within that edit. So the mega titty disclaimer is, I understand it's not what you're doing or using, it's how you're using and doing it. So even if I have a new style, it has a new fucking, you know, whatever, or reimagined or whatever, and that's the key word to get over my surface level matrix ego. So things are reimagined, right? Because we're all like, I don't want to like focus on just like, you know, monkey see, monkey do shit. Because like, I like my ego is like literally trying to mature out of this shit, right? Because if my ego matures out of this shit, then I could have a certain type of freedom. I could have a certain type of chill. So I understand all of this shit is being reimagined. You know, beyond the tech companies with different esoteric science provings, underground 2018 for sure. So the mega titty disclaimer is these styles that I'm like coming up with, I'm using it for the real natural matrix in contrast to the detrimental shadow usage of the matrix, right? It's not that, you know, it's like there's a mega disclaimer discrepancy. There's a disclaimer discrepancy. How I'm using all of this shit recognizes how there could just be a standard, okay, you see it in a standard neutral monkey see, monkey do, but you're using it way differently. So that's the big take. And I know people get cringe when I talk about this shit. But if I don't delineate that shit of the usage of how I'm using it for the natural matrix, then the highest irony is the paradise will be lost. How will the paradise be lost? By not doing ethics and principles of the paradise for real though. So if the ethics and the principles of the paradise are lost, then that's foreign to a different organic paradise. That organic paradise will be lost energetically, and there will be an electromagnetic refurbicate or bifurcation, pulling apart. A different context, different layers of pulling apart, right? The paradise, the organic paradise from the artificial paradise, there'll be a pulling apart. How? Because we're not practicing doing it for the ethics and the principles of the natural matrix. So if the ethics and the principles are lost in the natural matrix, then that will diminish by esoteric science law. Esoteric science law will diminish the natural paradise, and this is the highest titty irony of all, beyond all the hype and the desires and the artificial bullshit, fake competition. We need that natural matrix sustenance from different natural celestial beings upholding a different natural matrix that are supplying unique natural energies, your soul and your fucking whole body, hidden, suppressed in the earth body, in the Saturn matrix, and all these Saturn fucking random, like obviously like Mercury knows all of this like Saturn magic stuff, right? Obviously has to, right? So it's like Mercury does it. The ethics and the principles of the natural matrix are needed within, beyond the Saturn matrix and the rudimentary surface level first stage Mercury matrix, respectively. So, and what upholds the natural matrix? It's the bigger picture balance of them all, right? Because they're still in their own universal law of cause and effect, right? Like Neptune going out, going in. Any planet going out has to go back in. Spend energy, recharge it. Makes like so. There's different real energy laws, respectively beyond the presidency and respectively in the real timeless level. What do I mean by the real timeless level? Really upholding the real timelessness. Aside from aside from this lower off of demonic demiurge shit. So the ethics and the principles are needed from a particular natural matrix that are still interplaying with the artificial matrix, and people just focusing on the artificial matrix and then shadow use and then distorted stuff and then somehow complaining with that shit in the fucking highest esoteric intelligence. So there's an intelligence crisis that's going on. There's a crisis of intelligence that's going on. And if you don't understand that, that's sad. It's fucking titty sad. It's like fucking a girl with that being alone for too long, and she's just there, and she's like, there's just some bugging me. There's some expansion and contraction happening in all respects to the esoteric energy, right? So there's some type of expansion going on and contraction going on. And so the Venus, ironically, that Taurus Sun house and Venus also Venus being in Pisces, so there's a heavy sextile energy of Venus. There's a heavy Venus, there's an exalted kind of like raunchy industry, right? The raunchy industry is getting its own natural sustenance from the Venus energy, and hopefully that has a reset, right? Because everything's being redefined and reimagined most respectively. So within Taurus season, Venus is in Pisces, and she's in a certain gate where she's in gate 25.1. So I went onto the website where the I Ching gate has 6 different stages. So it's degrees within degrees, original open source. So Venus is in gate 25.1. So she's just barely starting this big soul shit. She's starting a whole new soul journey entirely from the guys. From Venus's point of view, she's in this Pisces complex where she just got out of a certain gate, and now she's moving on within the Pisces constellation, and the Pisces constellation having a different outlook above. She's going through a certain stage of the Pisces constellation where she came from gate 36 to gate 25. She went to crisis to I think it's a universal learning or something like that. I didn't fully write it, but so as she's going through the Pisces journey, she's getting out of a general crisis, the sins of the ancestors, and now she's moving on through Pisces. She's moving on through that Pisces vicinity for her to like find new universal ways of being, new fish, new what do you call that? Breeds of fish tribes are swimming about. And Taurus is like kind of the final preparing the boat, and then Gemini season is now we're taking the boat. Who knows where we're driving the boat, right? Gemini season is like Taurus season. It's the final details. And that's probably what I want to. That's what I think of Taurus the most energetically. And it's not necessarily the individual people, but I'm just thinking of it as the final details of crafts a boat, right? Making sure like even the boat has the proper rope and the sails for it to kind of do its thing. So Venus and Taurus, it's like that boat is being like the boat is being like redefined respectively. So and Venus is being infused from this universal seat, right? So it's like going through that this whole different phase locking, juxtaposition, gyroscapulating field of things, original open source, and authentic, mature, perfect comparison with, intellectually within, whoever he thinks they are, mutually, the most progressed JoJo. And for me, and cool. And for me to maturely, advancedly, naturally do that, it's just a secret. It's a secret maturity. That's all I really gotta say, because like I'm okay with serving. I'm okay with working for the universe on the most truthful level. I'm okay with serving the universe. I'm okay with service. I'm okay with like, hey friend, how can I help you if I can? If you're not gonna mean mug me, or you're not gonna try to throw a stone at me, right? So I'm very polite and sociable in the work field. So there's a reason for these things, right? And I'm gonna redo this one because I'm gonna re-listen to this one because there's a different point I said as well. So Venus is in such a point in Pisces, so we're focusing on Venus because Sun is in Taurus, that life force energy is transferring towards the sextile in the Pisces field, and that Pisces field is like infusing Venus close by, right? So Venus has that solar energy of digesting Taurus shit. Venus is like digesting Taurus shit, and she's moving her way through. She's going through the dark ups and downs of the gods. Pisces, the dark ups and downs of the gods, most especially. So Pisces, so Venus is going through the dark up, and so she's refining everything. She's refining a new fucking human. New Venus and Jupiter babies are just new humans, like, and I'm not trying to say anything about it, but I'm just saying like new nations are being made, and we don't have to use the detrimental use of quote unquote religion for new shit that's being made, for new creations that are being made. But on a low-key side note, it's also being made in such a way where it's a pure universal level. Venus is in gate 25.1, so she's just barely doing the groundwork. So we're focusing on Venus. So in this astrology reading, I put Venus, Moon, Mercury, Sun. That's it. Venus, Sun is exalting the Venus house. Venus's house, Venus's house, and Venus already doing her shit elsewhere out of her house, right? She's doing elsewhere, and as she's doing elsewhere out of her house is getting lit up while she's away from her house. So not good, not bad. There's a party at their house, and they're away from their own house, not necessarily at a certain party. Not good, not bad. I'm not tripping. I'm just saying, like, if there's a party at my house in a different esoteric energy way, and I'm not there because I'm on a different, business journey, then I trust the business of the balance of the secret deep balance of Venus, and Venus is doing her work throughout a certain solar system, and now she's in a certain connection conjunction of an as above, so below Pisces, right? And the Earth is feeling her so as below Pisces, right? Venus is in the as below Pisces, right? In the surface level material world. So Venus is in Pisces in the as below, and she's getting downloads from the universal center, right? In a different way, in a different way, because that's what Pisces is. In the Pisces constellation, there's also Venus. Virgo and Pisces have connections to like the universe, right? In unique ways. In the mutable signs, that's where in the mutable signs, that's where the portals are happening, right? So I could have focused on the sun first. I could have, in this reading, I could have focused on the sun moon, but for some reason I just went straight to Venus, right? So I'm kind of like an assistant of Venus, right? Like in just a different esoteric term. Like I'm just saying, like, there's a life force and there's Uranus happening in your Taurus house with this solar system region, and you're over here in this region. I'm reporting to Venus what's happening in this moment by just being here. I'm just being here, and I'm seeing what Venus is doing, and maybe Venus is somehow transferring, and however she can, to Taurus, right? She's transferring it to Taurus in different synastry ways and in different material ways, right? Synastry ways like the telephone, right? The esoteric telephone calls, right? Like if Venus was in any other sign, she's still in Taurus and Libra because there's synastry effects of individuals having telepathy lines, right? It's a unique context of telepathy, right? No matter where Venus is at, she's always going to know what's happening in Taurus and Libra because those are her houses, right? So she has transparent connections to Taurus and Libra and Pisces, right? No matter where Venus is at, she's always going to have a more or less transparent connection to Taurus and Libra, and she's exalting the Taurus and Libra to wherever she goes, right? So it's like surface level, like pagan. I look at Venus as pagan law, right? Too. So, like the earthly pagan law of human Venus is also in Pisces, and Pisces is like, you know, the dark ups and downs of this life, right? So it's like, you know, the pagan law of what we're used to, it's just getting a reset within like some deep water gods, right? Deep different water gods, and different new water gods and old water gods, dealing with other gods, right? And recognizing to be like a unique human on the earth, it takes some remnant of water, right? Some water gods now want to be earth gods. Like you could say the earth and the water, they're like different channels, and they're like, they kind of go and oscillate one above another, right? We're earth beings, though. It's like somehow we're finished off with earth, right? So within earth, it's like we could use the earth talent. We could see the triangulation of earth and the triangulation of water to just fucking ascend, right? To just chill the fuck out and ascend. You know, just to really fucking clear out all the hype, clear out all the fuzzballs, all this misused fucking spiritual rhetoric shit. Just clear all that fucking shit out and go to the source of it. Just go to the pure shit of it. That's all I'm saying. And the pure shit of it is seeing where their off balance and the balance is of the planets, right? And Venus is upholding the balance of the humans, right? The integrity of the physiology is Venus, right? She's like refining, like, so it could be like Venus, Mercury, Saturn, right? So it's like Venus is like, she's like, there's like this fine tuning of the human, like the human is getting fine tuned, and the fucking dating component is being fueled by the universe, by quote unquote the source, right? End quote, or the open source. So Venus is like in Pisces. So hopefully, I don't know if we got Venus in Pisces clear. Venus is like her fucking that, you know, that oscillating niche witchcraft in the humans. It's being reset in the Pisces field, and it's and now it's going to the moon in Taurus, right? And now now the moon is in Taurus, right? So the new moon in Taurus. So the moon, the sun and Uranus in Taurus, it's receiving that particular Venus effect for the moon to do what it's going to do, for the sun to light up the sun field within the moon, and the earth feeling that sun-moon fusion, and the moon like being kind of like resetted on a different cyclical track record. The cyclical track record of the moon has been in a certain programming detail of the solar system, where the moon is having a new reset to gather up, you know, energies of willing humans, general human energies, the moon, right? So now like just general human, like quote unquote byproduct evolution energies from a certain field of consciousness and temperament, the moon, it's being restarted, it's being gathered, right? The moon is like a regathering, and we're regathering that energy of the moon in the Taurus field. So we're regathering energy for Taurus moon. We're regathering energy for the Venus house, Venus, moon. So moon, and then the moon's in Taurus. And then the moon is in that Taurus field of splitting apart. And I was talking about the splitting apart earlier in a different context of cardinal and mutable, but it doesn't have to be in that context. But Taurus could be splitting apart, separating what doesn't work. This doesn't work. These two things don't match. or maybe the baby chicken needs to hatch, right? So the egg shell has served its purpose. Now the chicken can discard the egg shell because it doesn't need that anymore. So that's what Taurus is. It's like you're trying to hatch. Now the movie Alien comes to mind, or even like any movie of where they're in some type of they're in some type of hyperstasis, and now they're going and they're taking out the residue of the ectoplasm, preserving gel that they're in from the matrix that they're in. And now the creation, whatever the fuck the creation is, Taurus, now some type of artful baby is going to be born, Taurus, and we're feeling that artful baby, moon. So it's Venus, moon, Mercury, sun on a standard baby casual level. So I already got the Venus fucking shit down. Now I'm talking about the moon. We're reharvesting energy. We can link our mood to the moon so we don't have to have the pains of life naturally and esoterically, but obviously the game is the game, right? And the other things are gonna like try to pull and tax too. So obviously Venus, Moon, Mercury, Sun, and then Sat, right? And I think Sat is still in gate 36 because I checked it, and I barely wrote Sat after Sun. But I'm just focusing on Venus, Moon, Mercury, and Sun. So now the moon is like, now we're reharvesting energies and Taurus-like qualities. I think I spoke enough about Taurus. Now I'm going to Mercury. So moon, we're feeling the splitting apart. We're feeling the division. Not good, not bad. We're feeling lines being... Look it. So here's the thing about Taurus season. The intelligence hasn't necessarily caught up to see that lines are being made. Lines are being drawn, set boundaries, standardly. And I'm not trying to be like egotistical or emotional. Like casual tech boundaries and digital boundaries, data pipelines in a different context are being set and firmly inlaid, right? Original open source. And esoterically, it will be proven that it's beyond the AI in due time. But respectively. So Taurus season is like the data pipeline infrastructures per corporations. They're there to split apart and sift away, right? Taurus is like different module interfaces, right? Original open source. So Taurus is like, so we're feeling, and we don't like another person's freedom. So Taurus naturally, it's just like, I'm not trying to be like, I'm like, we can solve the enviousness too, right? And I'm not saying Taurus is just envious. I'm just saying like an individual could compare themselves in such a way where they don't know what their potential is, and they can focus on someone else's potential. And to reduce envy is just to not put your focus on someone else and like not to overly compare. But like Taurus could be overly comparison too, because it's one individual thing in differentiation from a different individual thing. Taurus, drawing lines, splitting apart, so we're feeling that. So Moon and Taurus, even notes of envy could come up respectively. And it doesn't have to necessarily do with individual Taurus signs, but I'm just saying like, and we can like, whatever we see, it go. There's a part in the throat chakra that's also like trying to listen to what we see, right? So as we're listening to what we see, the moon is in gate 23.4. So 23.4, it's on the 0.4. So it's trying to mean something. So the 0.4, it's the opportunity. So it's like so it's degrees within degrees. So it's like the moon has transited into gate 23 and it's going through the denominations of gate 23. And now it's seeing the opportunist phase. It's like, what are we making of this shit? So now it's like people are like, people are just, the emotions want to capitalize towards refined shit and hopefully fair shit though. But not everyone's on the exhausted, Taurus Venus shit, right? But what does that even mean? But the moon is in gate 23.4, so it's like we're gonna feel the energies of the sun and the earth have boundaries. And as people have boundaries, maybe the opportunity and how to make money is to just like see like by help people possibly make boundaries, right? And this is just intuitive astrology. I'm not trying to like say, and I didn't even get into books. So I'm typing these videos not necessarily accurate because this is not necessarily business synergistics, but it could be because I'm talking about astrology first. But I'm gonna maybe I'll have the energy to run through this shit after the astrology bit. So on Venus, Moon, and now Mercury. I think we already got the feel of Mercury, right? I'll come back to this. And then I have 6 other pages of astrology, and then the Sun. The Sun's also so the Sun is like the thing that's opposing the Sun is the Earth. So the thing that's opposite of the Sun could be our outer instincts. So we could like Scorpio and Taurus, there could be a very unique rebellion, and there could be an energetic revolution that coincides with some type of unique rebellion, right? Because Sun is in because the life force energy is kind of like linked up to like what we're seeing, right? So we're getting life force energy to what we're seeing, right? So everything that we're seeing in the Sun, there's a unique life force energy with what we're seeing more so. So with what we're seeing, like our, it's like Taurus season, it's like our vision is being charged up, and the thing that's opposing that we could balance is the other instincts, right? The Scorpion tendencies, right? The other instincts. So to balance the fucking vision and the pleasure shit, we have to also balance like there could be some manipulative stuff going on behind the scenes on the unconscious, preferably, right? Aside from all the hype of the digital fucking fragmented stories, there's a whole different thing going on within the astrology. The other instincts, not good, not bad, you doing your thing, no judgment, brothers. So to balance the hype of the life force of like, hey, whoa, I feel so alive by just seeing this new shit. You could balance that and not get hoodwinked by just seeing Scorpio shit of like, there's other things going on, that there's more than this shit that just meets the eye. There's more to this shit that just meets the fucking eye. So that's where the Sun is at. So to balance the Sun shit, there's more to meet the fucking eye than just you just fucking seeing it, and that's an under fucking statement. So the Sun and the Saturn. So I've talked about them. So I'm just Venus, Moon, and Sun. That's all I did, you know. And then I'll read these. I'll just rewrite these notes. And I actually did do a new moon reading, and that's super secret for the super secret balanced genuine clientele. The new moon readings that I've done, that I've given free in the past, I always do them, but I don't post all of them. The Negatropic HD is where I align them in such a way where it makes more sense, and shout out to the open source that, you know, is doing that, but I'm doing it in such a way where it's like, it makes more sense though, you know? And so the underground clientele, these are the real, for the real authentic go-getters, the real fucking top motivated, ambitious people, right? So it's for the TIDs, original open source. So these are for like, it's not for, it's cutting through all of the fluff that you could imagine, literally, energetically, 4-3, 1-3-3-3-3. And that's, you know, then surrender to like, you know, balanced Mercury, right? Because balanced Mercury, what he's doing is, on the surface level, he's just, what the fuck is that thing? It's like the game arranger, right? So Mercury is the game arranger. So obviously, if I say 3-3-3-3, there's already a direct circuit line for Mercury, without a doubt, without the surface level branding of Mercury, without a doubt. And that's respectively, esoterically, underneath things like FBI and CIA. There's a different growing Mercury, right? So if I say 3-3-3-3, there's respectively, there's like, with it to the game arranger, There's a direct line of Mercury, so. And obviously, 4-3s, that could mean so many different things. Well, in the case of Taurus season, it's like Taurus probably exalting Earth, even. Taurus season is exalting Earth. Scorpio receiving that, that Earth circuit conjunction. So there's like a Sun-Earth life force dynamo in Scorpio. So Scorpio is kind of like recycling the life force energy. So Scorpio is like seeing the death of the light, right? The death of the sun while using the sun. That's Scorpio, not good, not bad. So within that, Taurus and Scorpio and Virgo and Gemini, Mercury and Venus, that surface level shit, they're already using 3, 3, 3, 3 in their own way, in their own multidimensional way, and that post on the parts work, oh my gosh. What if the planets have their own parts? What if society has their own parts? What if the parts of society respond to our inner parts? Pause, pause, pause. So in Taurus and different things, the 4 could be exalted, right? So the 4 is going to exalt that 3, 3, 3, 3. Mercury and Venus work. Or Venus and Mercury work. So this is numeral, and then so let me conclude the astrology. And let me read this book, chapter 5 and chapter 6. Using the telephone effectively, skim read. Chapter 6, written communication, skim read. And I'll do chapter 4 tomorrow to kind of just like reflect on like, exalting the earth, right? So chapter 5 of taking care of business. Using the telephone effectively. So communication. Chapter 6, written communication. Wow. This is some intellectual taste. This is some intellectual text. So chapter 5, using the telephone effectively. The telephone can be your salvation or your undoing. If you call with sensitivity and openness, the telephone is an effective investigative tool that measures the emotional atmosphere in distant places. It is a powerful communication device that can reassure a frightened associate or give just the right input to close a deal. It extends you into the world and multiplies your effectiveness. Yet if you call with fear and are closed, the telephone conveys your insecurity and undermines you. In a single call, you can create a negative impression, undo years of goodwill, or break a friendship. It is both powerful and precarious because visual clues such as facial expressions are missing, while the potential for intimacy is increased. Under stressful circumstances, it's easy to misread others, project your own fears, and make mistakes. Misusing the telephone always makes matters worse. The telephone is as sensitive and as subtle as you are. It magnifies your impact or it destroys your credibility. It accentuates your subtlety when you call at just the right moment with the right comment. But when you call at the wrong time, even a little pushy, it makes you out to be insensitive and crass, revealing your motives and magnifying your fears. It's important not to get carried away with overanalyzing who should call and when. Too many business people neglect to follow up because they don't want to lose leverage by seeming desperate. There is often considerable truth to this position in the world of show business. There is a big difference between calling someone and someone calling you. The caller is seen pinkies out, Chardonnay, champagne, rosé, nigga. Pinkies out. Chardonnay, champagne, rosé, nigga. Nunchuck ya, cowabunga, Michelangelo ya, struck ya, duck ya, pluck ya, fuck ya, yo, truck ya, yo, struck ya, entrusted like entrust ya with a different will of a nomad, Masonic, yo, Tristan, to try There's often considerable truth to this position. It's important not to be carried away with overanalyzing who should call and when. Too many business people neglect to follow up because they don't want to use leverage by seeming desperate. There's often considerable truth to this position. In the world of show business, there is a big difference between calling someone and someone calling you. The caller is seen as asking for something, empowering the receiver. Try to avoid getting caught up in stuff. Let your instincts guide you. Too many opportunities are lost because a would-be caller has overanalyzed himself out of making contact. It is important to develop a natural telephone style, one that is most like you and permits you to be your best. Some people are inhibited on the telephone and have difficulty calling. Others who are insecure about their physical appearance or by the presence of others won't take no for an answer and can be persuaded on the phone well beyond their customary ability in person. They are braver at distance. When you hang up, the other person is left with the impact of your call. You have no more input, no more selling or persuading, no charming smile to carry on to you. The other person is alone with his or her thoughts and impressions. So it's important that your call works for you. You can increase effectiveness on the phone and develop your telephone personality that serves you. You want to project strength. Know what setting makes you most comfortable to talking. Be free of distractions. Concentrate. Don't read the mail or carry on another conversation in sign language. Take the time to be focused. Know what you want to say. Know when you want to hang up before you call. Focus, 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 focus. You need to assess the situation of the person you are calling as quickly as possible. Ask if this is a good time to call. Focus, focus. Is there a better time? Be flexible, patient, and understanding. Remember, independent of anything you say or do, your call can be perceived differently depending on the person's. Depending on the. Depending on the other person's situation, when someone has had a harassing day, your well-intentioned but casual call might not be seen as welcome. The most important telephone skill is knowing when to talk or call back. Here it is right here. Evaluating your telephone effectiveness. For the next week, including weekends after each call, ask yourself the following questions. You do not need to write down your answers, but keeping a record of any kind will help. Was the call necessary? Why did you make or receive it? Was the call too long? How long did it take to get to the actual business of the call? ¿Por qué? Why? How could you have made the call shorter without random stringy distractions and manipulation? Did you accomplish what you wanted? Why or why not? How could you have made the call more effective? Did you accomplish what you wanted? If you could have hung up, so underline that. Did you accomplish what you wanted when making the telephone call? Why or why not? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué no? If you could have hung up sooner, you were on too long. If you hung up without making your point, you wasted your time. How much time do you waste on the phone? Talking excessively in business is almost uniformly a bad trait. The more said in the least amount of time, the better. How many calls do you take a day? What time of day are you called most? Are you prepared to talk then, or are you busy? Figure out when you receive the most calls and plan to be available then. Calling back is a waste of time and often you miss opportunities. So I should skim read this actually. And I'll read all the bold, paragraphs. Okay. Okay. How much do you use the telephone as a major instrument during work hours? Calls to spouses and lovers fall into the leisure category, but such calls run the risk of adding stress to discuss problems. You use the telephone to keep from working. When are you most likely to call? What impact do your calls have on those who receive them? If you routinely take unnecessary calls, you diminish yourself in the eyes of others. I could claim a certain degree of expertise in reading people's emotions over the telephone from evaluating thousands of callers on my radio talk show. I'd like to pass along some of my secrets to you. So the radio signal, it's like the astrology could help us make a radio signal, right? The abundance takes time in the Saturn matrix. The abundance rhetoric takes time. The radio signal takes time in the Saturn shit. And obviously there's other things that connect to the radio that is a different discussion. Listen carefully to what the other person says and to your reaction. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Listen carefully to what the other person says and to your reaction. Be calm. You have all the time you need if you don't rush. Everything that happens on the telephone between you and the other person is important. It's important. Like I'm mature with the conversation, right? This is important. If I'm talking to you, whatever person who sees resonance with me, I find you an important person, and I do my best to respect you. And hopefully the intelligence doesn't get too permeated and grashed with it, right? But everything that happens on the telephone between you and the other person is important. Every emotional clue is significant. Wow. A pause in the middle of a thought indicates hesitation. Not necessarily, but maybe. Follow the thought to conclusion in your own mind, and you will have some idea of what the person was reluctant to express. A pause in the middle of a thought indicates hesitation. Follow the thought to conclusion in your own mind, and you will have some idea of what the person was reluctant to express. Survival or ego shoot. That's no resonance. That's okay. Get into the fucking pie. A cough indicates discomfort. It may be a fear of expressing disagreement or anger. Try to remember the subject that preceded it. The other person finds it threatening. Understand why. A hand over the speaker muffling the sound is an attempt at censorship, revealing a fear of embarrassment. And I get the whole data thing. People want to fucking try to sell back data and shit. That's a different conversation, A sigh indicates the perception of a loss. It may indicate a trivial disappointment or reveal a deep hurt being concealed just below the surface. A sigh. A motherfucking sigh. We got a 2020 motherfucking 5 sigh. We got a 2020 sci-fi. Shout out to the sci-fi. A sigh indicates the perception of a loss. Oh. So they think they're gonna lose something per some perception, but that's the game of the trade. That's the game of change. So when someone sighs, that's just their individual shit, right? A sigh indicates the perception of a loss. It may indicate a trivial disappointment or reveal a deep hurt being concealed just below the surface. Spiritual warfare goes deep. Or like a yawn, it may indicate boredom. Any repetitive sound, such as suggests an automatic way of dealing with anxiety and may also indicate that a person is unwilling to be open. Be aware of the context in which nervous laughter occurs. So there's just a lack of resonance, right? So it's like, if there's a conversation that's not going anywhere, it's not resonating, right? So that's okay, right? Notice when others forget or lose their place. Notice when others forget or lose their place. It often indicates that there's something they didn't want to discuss. So I read this bold shit, and the non-bold shit, I'm skim reading. Use all of these clues to shape your questions. The effect of silence is magnified on the telephone. It's appropriate to be silent to listen, think, react, and allow what the other person has said to register. Silence allows the other person to finish the thought and to be complete. Being silent allows the other person room to expound without the benefit of visual feedback, but don't overdo it. Long silences on the telephone are perceived as hostile and withholding. Remember, if your silence makes the other person anxious, you are being hurtful and creating resentment. A brief course in the telephone language. If you cannot tell how other people are feeling before you call, you need others' help. Your best allies are the people who work for the people you want to talk to. There are a lot of different ways of going about this, but they all boil down to one simple thought. Be nice to the little people. Treating secretaries as equals often gets you further than treating the bosses as equals. Make it a point to know the names of the assistants and the people you contact regularly. Anyone who deals with important people will be quick to tell you how much they owe to their assistants. Put yourself in a secretary's position. She wants to help her boss and protect him or her from harassment. If it's not a good time to call, ask her if she can suggest a better time. It's not a good idea to get into a pitch with a secretary. More properly stated, your desperation makes you into a nuisance. Put a smile on your voice, it shows it's important. When you get through, when you reach your party, and that's what for everybody who's doing telecommunicating, telephony on a job, you know? Like, make it a point to be a little more understandable and, you know, not less confused. Like this is just general, this telephone communication skills. When you get through, when you reach your party, even if you've been cleared, you should ask again if this is a good time for him to talk. Give the other person a choice. He'll appreciate it and respect you for it because you are obviously treating him the way you want to be treated. If the atmosphere isn't important, the call probably isn't either and shouldn't have been made. The way people answer your phone is you. So when others answer the phone for you, give them specific instructions about how you want to be represented. Important. The person who answers your phone is your spokesperson. Think about the impression you want to make and ask yourself if your person creates it. You know, you might need to fire some people that they don't even know, you know, like some people might need to be fired, right? The people who answer the phone for an enterprising company should project accessibility and positiveness, right? You're on the floor when you're in the boardroom with the people around in the boardroom. You're coming to that finished level to also give it your best and sell your fucking shit, right? Because you're also, when you're in the boardroom, you're still selling your efforts and talents. So when you're in the boardroom, maybe radiate positivity in just a different feel and project accessibility. So yeah, so like what are we getting access to? You know, when we're in the boardroom, you're in the room of the people, it's like this is the access that's for sale. So we're being cleared on a different level, respectively, just 2025 respectively. It's just the rudimentary business things reflecting astrology, business synergistics, right? So basic business shit, billionaires are saying we don't necessarily need the education system, that's a different conversation, and then rudimentary business shit, right? Their tone of voice should convey the following messages. I'm glad you called. I have the time to understand. I'm glad you called. I have the time to understand what you want. The people who answer the phone for an enterprising company should project accessibility and positiveness. Their tone of voice should convey the following messages. I'm glad you called. Hey, I'm glad you called. I have the time to understand what you want. We can solve it. I'm sure we can find a way to work together. You matter. Your business is important. This is a good place to work. We like people. We like people over here. We like all types of people. So if I'm selling furniture, if I'm selling cars, if I get the rudimentary stuff done in the matrix shit, we like people, you know? So this is like, you know, that's a different combo. I'm not going there. This attitude should be a true reflection of what others can expect dealing with you or your company. So the company likes the people who want to fucking really have the higher go-getter shit, the natural higher. So my company is more intelligent and has higher go-getter reciprocity beyond all the tech companies in the esoteric details. So that's why, and that's why you should invest in my stock. Of this, you know, sovereign shit. This attitude should be a true reflection of what others can expect dealing with you or your company. Negative people do not belong on the telephone. Sector negative employees. Putting people on hold is an insult. It's made worse by not telling them first, and for me to say that is a fucking miracle within the workforce. it's such a low-key miracle. It's a subtle miracle. Because for me to suggest that, it opens the door for that particular possibility. Check your negative employees to reduce bad reviews, or check the negative bosses that didn't do the job. Car mechanic, fix my car, pay them a bunch of money, didn't fix it, write a review for me, and now you're gonna block me, that type of shit. If the system can't solve the petty claims with modern innovation like that, then that's then that's misrepresenting the innovation, right? Negative people do not belong on the telephone. Putting people on hold is an insult. It's made worse by not telling them first, and it's made intolerable by forcing them to listen to an arrangement of moon ringers that stands as if it was copied from some airline's in-flight music package. So the innovation, I have faith in the innovation that it's gonna instill a better law. Never put someone on hold for longer than 1 minute. When you are on hold by 30 seconds, make the feeling start to build. By 45 seconds, you're gonna ask, where the hell is he? When you are on hold, you are trapped on the phone. So it's all, but within this, the niche is like, you gotta know who your clientele is. You gotta wanna know, you gotta wanna sell to who you're wanting to sell to. That's my little piece right there. But like if you're in a more fixed structure and you never know who the customer could be, obviously the flexibility needs to be there, right? So there has to be flexibility within any fucking company, right? Respect, like intellectually respectively. There has to be some flexibility here, dealing with other people, right? So I could come maybe like just standardly through it all, you know? You're not on par with the policies in the higher truthful field, and the company needs to move on. There's some people that need to let go. Fire, right? The fire of the Aries, the firing element is making us transform to peel the Aries energy, Taurus energy. It's like we're peeling we're coming out of the old matrix, Taurus and Aries, the old matrix. We're peeling out of that, like fucking like a spider's baby, or a spider fucking making a web, a house of webs. It has its own house of webs on some, original esoteric natural shit. And now it's coming out of that web, atmosphere, and it's coming to a new arena, right? So new people are needed, right? Putting someone on hold makes them a prisoner, builds resentment, undermines goodwill. If you must put a person on hold, have someone get back to them periodically. I could think of a good thing to say about being on hold. The telephone call as business meeting. Skim read it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. A telephone call needs as much organization and planning as any other business meeting. Because everyone tends to become absorbed in their own needs, it's easy to forget about the other person's pressure and being truthful. Avoid calling people casually unless you have a personal relationship. The unstructured telephone call is unwise. It dilutes your effectiveness and positions you as needy or annoying. Treat all your business calls seriously. Again, always call with specific goals in mind. So my stream, it's serious. It's a serious promotion of consciousness. It's like, shout out to the predecessors, helping us learn about conscious business, right? Whatever the fuck that is. Rudimentary, right? The unstructured okay. Ask yourself the following questions. Why am I calling? What do I hope to accomplish? What do I want to know? Will this telephone call give me that answer? Is there any other way I could find out? How could this call hurt me? What could I do to prevent that? Setting limits. Limit the conversation. Keep it eventful. If you let it drift, it will lose its effectiveness. Don't try to discuss everything in a single call. It gets confusing. Stay focused. Focus. Yeah, focus on just focus on this shit, I guess. Focus on the best shit. The other person should be able to report your message in a single sentence. Don't bring up subjects that you are unprepared to discuss. If the other person brings up a point that you don't want to discuss, postpone the discussion. Say you don't have time or would prefer to discuss it in person. Don't even begin to comment on the points. Don't get angry if the other person presses. Be polite but firm. Some of the worst business mistakes have occurred because someone who got into a discussion against his will or when he was unprepared to face an issue. Don't get trapped into this. It's good business to expect to succeed. When people won't take your calls, people avoid you because they don't want to face the problem that comes with you. When you become identified with a problem or are seen one-dimensionally as the critical boss, the whining parent, the pleading child, or the overbearing associate, you will be treated in a stereotyped way. So that's the thing. It's like, are you a liability or are you an asset? Who the fuck said that? Who the fuck said that? Who the fuck said that in the fucking business wisdom? Are you in the business wisdom of 1990 to 2000? Who said that shit? Are you a liability or are you an asset? Keep going. You will be dealing with conditions resistance. Salesmen face this problem every call, meeting people who are prepared to say no. So a toxic salesman is they don't know their liability in the matrix. That's what a toxic salesman is. To break the pattern, people often try to adopt a ploy or find some gimmick, but these approaches miss the point. People resent people who are trying to use or trick them. Gimmicks are risky and usually backfire. They are only good if you play percentages, not when every call matters. You present yourself as an ally by being an ally. That is the best way to be sure others take your calls. One of the best salesmen I know often spends hours on a call without making a sale. He services the account, takes an inventory, measures progress, evaluates the product acceptance, and examines clients' complaints. His telephone calls are never refused because he is seen as part of the team, not an outsider. So that paragraph right there, should I repeat it? Sincerity is the best gimmick for being accepted. So sincerity, it's like harassing calls. If you want to avoid harassing calls, take the call and be direct. Indicate that you don't want to talk to the caller, that because he or she is so difficult, you have given your business to someone else, and that you will not take future calls. This will shut off most callers. It is amazing how many people waste time dodging unwanted calls without ever bringing the issue to a head. Weed out everything in your life that keeps you from driving. Written communication, chapter 6. Conclude chapter 5. When you shouldn't call, you should never express anger over the phone. You can't tell how, never express anger. So within the neighbors, within like the laws of nature, we have become civilized enough to know what peace is, right? Tranquility is, right? Thank something for that. So within that, as we're progressing through this peace, maybe there might be some, maybe like in the future, right? There might be an angry neighbor, right? So if there's an angry neighbor, standard rudimentary of progressing law and nature, never express anger over the phone. You can't tell how it is being received. It's precarious enough to express anger in a business situation without increasing the depth by dealing in the dark. Expressing anger will always work against you. Even so, you should consider the impact that getting emotional will have on your business relationships, credibility, and work atmosphere, and decide against it. So don't get angry, right? So that's where like the quote unquote therapy / shadow work comes in, I guess, right? And who's to say like who's like really helping that, right? On the other hand, the integrity of a personal relationship depends on expressing your feelings as soon as they occur. But even that it is advisable to do. On the other hand, the integrity of a personal relationship depends on expressing your feelings as soon as they occur. But even then, it is advisable to do this in person. But even then, it is advisable to do this in person. To develop an effective telephone style, be your best, your most natural self. Now, know what you want. Keep introductions short and get to the point as soon as possible. See, there's a loss of sincerity there. Because sincerity is like the final thing to like kind of be quote unquote accepted in the group, right? In the tribe, right? For everybody to kick it and have fun and oh, now we're at the party, now we have shared vanity, right? Collective vanity is like it's upheld low key by sincerity, right? The recent page. Sincerity is the best gimmick for being accepted, low key, right? So where is the sincerity in all of this shit? If that's the final fucking piece, like where beyond just the neighborly thing, there has to be a sincerity to get along with your quote unquote city, but maybe the city on an esoteric science level could have energies of confusion and post toxicity. No offense. So if we're not doing these little niche key things, there's a big lack of sincerity. Why? They don't want to fuck with you. I'm direct with the intelligence. Like, I don't give a fuck about this confused, ignorant baby shit. I'm direct, like, the intelligence is like, it's direct, for real. So remember this call, state, and answer a single question clearly. So don't waste time. The directness identifies you as a serious business person. Serious, conscious business person. Entry level. Hello. Hello, avoid cutting pressure on the other person. It's just as easy for them to cut you off as it is for you to pressure them. So, there's lines, Whenever you place a call, you should be prepared to leave a message on an answering machine. Keep it simple, don't be cute. If you reach the machine and don't want to leave a message, hang up immediately. If you have any hesitation, give only your name and number. Don't leave a message if this is your first contact. If you make a mistake, it will be on tape and you will only feel inhibited about calling back. Don't add to your list unnecessarily. And shout out to everybody who I've left a voicemail in the past, naturally. Because obviously, all the voicemails that I've left in the past, or telephone calls, they could be recording and they could be mining that audio data from you. So this is the advanced data mining, right? The data mining of how the telephone communication lines between organizations and industries, data is being mined in such the verbal audio, verbiage of it, ambiance of it, So the verbal ambiance there's a verbal ambiance of data, of audio data, right? Don't leave a message if this is your first contact. If you make a mistake, it will be on tape and you will only feel inhibited about calling back. Don't add to this unnecessarily. Your answering machine, the right message for your answering machine conveys your style with confidence. The more confident you are, the less you need to say. This is not accomplished by hiring a firm to record your message. Adding music or other production value to your answering machine message is always a distraction. It's fine if on your personal line you want to tell jokes or have the latest rock hit in the background. It may try the patience of your friends from your answering machine. It may try the patience of your friends who will probably forgive you self-indulgence. And obviously people have some groovy tunes on the answering machine, so it's like, that's just who you are. There's no judgment, but like, if you have, like, so we're talking about, but it's acceptable. It is entirely out of place in business. The simplest and shortest message is the best. It may try the patience of your friends who will probably forgive you self-indulgence, but it's acceptable. It is entirely out of place in business. I'll return your call as soon as I can. If this isn't personal enough for you, you should have an answering service, not a more clever message. So there's an answering service, there's some type of instilled telecommunications option line that is indicative and tailored to the theme of your company. So setting up the answering in towards 2025 season. Hello. Hanging up. Never hang up in anger. Practice hanging up with a smile on your face. And it's so, like, I'm always trying to conclude it through the journey, right? Because obviously people are like, okay, if it's boring, okay. Never hang up in anger. Practice hanging up with a smile on your face and thank you. Gracias. Gracias. And there you go. Practice hanging up with a smile on your face and a thank you. Indicate that you are glad to have spoken together. Take the essence of the call and translate it into a direction. Finally, close with a statement like, we'll get right to work on that, or you'll hear from me in a week. That transforms the call into action. So wow. So he's really concluding, he's really finished, he's really putting the oil, he's really getting the oil change, right? He's really washing the car, he's taking the car for a drive. We'll get right to work on that. Or you'll hear from me in a week. He's really finished, he's really like putting the bow on the box, right? He's really tying up the present, right? That's the conclusion of the chapter. We'll get right to work on that. Or you'll hear from me in a week. It's separating the quote unquote, the really great salesman from the not so great salesman, right? You'll, like, for real though, like indicatively significant though. So indicatively significant, you'll hear from me in a week. That transforms the call into action. Think about your use of the telephone. It deserves your fullest attention. Written communication. I skipped chapter 4 for some reason. Ooh. So chapter 4, I'll be creeping up on chapter 4. Face to face, getting others to say what they mean. Clues that tell you when someone is lying. How to hold a meaningful discussion. Preparing others, being direct. When others monopolize the conversation, when others act inappropriately, and encouraging ideas, helping others focus. So this is moving it into the boardroom, right? So after the telephone shit has been, after all like the meetings are being prepared, whatever, casually, now there's a meeting, right? Helping others focus. Focus in the meeting. When others refuse to talk, it's not your turn to talk. Making sure when you understand what others say, like, what are you saying? Conceding you were wrong. So chapter 4, face to face. So that's business synergistics, the astrology kind of intermeshed with, telephonic, conversations, through delegating telephone meetings. Telephone meetings turning into things like, I guess, Skype or whatever new Skype there is. And then new Skype not, and then kind of having the contrast between online meetings to in-person meetings. And let me read the back again. I'll just show the picture right there. So you can read that. Read the back. And the Dow can be nasty sometimes. Sucio, right? The Dow, muy sucio. Wait a minute, I read chapter 20. Yeah, I'm not going to read chapter 20 again. So chapter 21 is the Dow. Pause. chapter 21 of the Tao. Chapter 21 and chapter 22 of the Tao. The countenance of great virtue. What's the definition of countenance? Oh, maybe I'll just read this on shit. So being rational, right? Rational, inspiration, inspired to be rational. Sun, like sun energy in the technical world, right? Life force energy in the technical data world. Sun and Taurus, right? So we have to be rational in this shit. So what's the definition of countenance? Because I want to take the Tao slowly, because this Tao is brutal. The ego doesn't like this shit. Obviously, the ego doesn't like how nature could fucking drill. It could drill shit, right? Nature will drill shit. Construction. The construction is a tear down process in construction, right? So we don't even know what Pluto's doing, right? In Aquarius, Pluto could be a different tear down construction in the recent Aquarius age. So at the shins, the system is like even a different context, maybe like a different surface level solar system. It's a big reset, right? That's the Pluto in Aquarius. It's a big rehaul beyond the human mind. Like we don't even know what could happen in the future. It's like we don't even like within the outer beacons. And then the human civilizations, we don't know how like the transformation is starting, right? The demolition, right? On a different level, not just like a different level of demolition. So that's what could happen in the future, right? We're caught up in the moment, right? We're caught up right here, like just chilling. Everything's all good for now, right? But a different universal karma is doing this shit. You know, we're here for the ride on universal karma. So countenance. A person's face or facial expression. Support. His impenetrable eyes and inscrutable countenance gives little away. Support. She was giving her specific countenance to the occasion. So it's like her gaze, right? The gaze of attention. That gaze of attention could support, the gaze of attention could destroy. So the gaze of great virtue, the seeing, the wisdom seer, the seers, the different types of wisdoms resetting to re-seek on the new earth, the pioneers of consciousness, the countenance of great virtue, chapter 21, the Tao, count the gaze, watching, you know. Chapter 21 in Taurus. Let's like, so this is Tao, this is shit. Let's go, chapter 21. The gaze of great virtue. Rationality of wisdom. Wisdom's rationality. Chapter 21 of the Tao, wisdom's rationality. For the countenance of great virtue, only the way is to be followed. And then all ways lead to one way, maybe not, maybe. So when you hear that phrase, all the paths lead to the same path, maybe, maybe not, you know, ups and downs, particular ups and downs, maybe, maybe not. Because like that, with all this shit, you know, for the countenance of great virtue, only the way is to be followed. As a, not like, what does that mean though? Only the ways to be followed. Like, what way, you know? Their way. Stay away. As a thing, the way is abstract and elusive. Elusive and abstract, there are images in it, code. Abstract and elusive, there is something there. Code. Recondite, hidden, it has vitality therein. Codes. That vitality is very real. Sun codes. It has truth therein. God's code, from ancient times to now. God's code, its name is the underparting. Thereby are seen all beauties. How do I know all beauties are thus? By this, the countenance of great virtue. You have the best idea. Chapter 21, the countenance of great virtue. For the countenance of great virtue, only the ways to be followed as a thing, the ways abstract and elusive. Elusive and abstract are images in it, abstract and elusive. There's something there, recondite, hidden. It has vitality therein. That vitality is very real. It has truth therein. From ancient times to now, its name is the underparting. Thereby are seen all beauties. How do I know all beauties are thus? By this. God in everything. In individuated challenges of the Godhead. I'll do astrology later.